So good afternoon, good morning, everybody. So many time zones happening here. So welcome to our Etter+Ramli's Powering Sustainable Success using our favorite NetSuite for solar energy business. So before we dive into the exciting part of NetSuite for solar energy, just a few house rules, guys. So just keep your microphone muted for a smooth webinar so we can be ready. And just to start off, I'm Ria Rodriguez Richardson. I came from the epicenter of Manila, Philippines. I've been loving NetSuite for more than 8 years now, and today I'm based in Seattle, Washington. I am the VP for Sales and Customer Acquisition at Etter+Ramli. I've been helping a lot of business decision makers, not only on the implementation side, but also in terms of understanding NetSuite licensing. I've been handling resellers and implementation teams since 2015. And I am an avid user of NetSuite as well. And right now I am with Todd Kimpton. And the sweeter part is Todd is the CEO founder of Etter+Ramli, and at the same time, a business process expert for many of the industries that NetSuite is covering. And right now it's solar energy. Todd has been not only coming from the principal product himself as NetSuite, he served as a customer success director and also a user, a project manager, technical manager, super admin, and now heading at Ramli. So we call him the most well-rounded NetSuite resource in the planet. So in my 8 years of NetSuite experience, as I said, we are actually now helping a lot of businesses, and now we're focusing on solar energy. And Etter+Ramli is actually very unique because we are independent and we are unbiased managed service provider of the client side in the NetSuite user community. So we are going to talk about, it's mostly our opinion on how to manage and lead solar energy to transition to NetSuite and to make sure that the deployment and the implementation is just right above, the top-notch services that we can offer you. We have the brilliant NetSuite consultants and technical database experts coming from the Philippines, and we serve global customers around the world. So in order to break down the solar energy, it's a huge industry. We are going to touch on the manufacturers like yourselves, installers, and even the power generators. Next slide, please.
Perfect.
All right. So I'll give the floor to Todd. Todd, you may touch on how to navigate the solar energy landscape.
Yeah, thanks, Ria. Thanks for the introduction. So the solar energy industry, it's always a bit strange to me to talk about an industry that's got so many different stakeholders in it. But everybody's in it. Some come from the manufacturing technology supply side, some come from the installation service side, and then of course some come from the generation side. All of these different players are undergoing rapid growth, but because of the nature of the industry, there's also quite a lot of administrative and governmental hurdles that are taking place as well. And so some of these challenges we see are around stakeholder reporting, around loan covenants, ESG standards, and also compliance as well. So hopefully today we get to talk a bit about these and the impacts. Listen, from our perspective, our view, we're a big believer in sustainability. Let's put it that way. I originally started in the organic food business all these years ago, so we're pretty keen to just, from our perspective, lay out what we think. So we think that solar has to achieve grid scale while also maintaining service delivery. We also think that the industry and all of its contributors need to be administrated well to effectively ensure maximum utilization. And candidly, the payoff or the risk is pretty high. Civilization, as we know it, could well depend on getting this deployment right. So inside of NetSuite, whether you're already on NetSuite or whether it is something you're looking at, NetSuite is a full ERP business management suite that takes care of all of your core business processes and has a terrific functional customization layer that allows for lots of personalization. So whether you're a manufacturer interested in cost control and production efficiencies and logistics management, an installer that's looking for project profitability and field service support and CRM, or a power generator that's trying to administrate complex structures and deliver compliance reports, NetSuite as a solution is able to fit each of these businesses well. So at Etter+Ramli, we talk about the concept of managed success. In fact, it's the name of our methodology. And managed success comes from the concept of a managed service plus customer success. And we feel that customer success is not just created; it needs nurturing and it needs planning. And a managed service is the only way to do it, because other business models within the technology services space just don't lend themselves well to a complete customer success outcome. But as a managed service, we provide a skills-based contract that has got everything the customer needs to get successful, from leadership, functional and technical skills that are available at call. So just talking about a deployment life cycle, when we have implemented NetSuite hundreds of times, but the post-implementation is really where the action lies. Getting live on the system is sort of the first step, but as soon as you are on that pathway, there's three really important gates to clear. The first gate is around triage, automate, and then compliance, and they need to be completed in this sequence, because you can't get to the promised land of business partnering for managed success unless you go through these three gates first, regardless what people tell you. So let's dive into these a little bit more. So the concept of triage is around stabilizing users and really helping to solve operational issues, because a business that's not it doesn't have stable users is impossible to scale. And so bringing the users to a point of stability and maintaining that stability is the first box to check, if you like. Once that's done, and we have consistent processes and stable users, we then move on to automation. And automation is around the concept of making everything hyper efficient, automating everything that can be automated so that we unlock all of that productivity. So automation really enables efficient administration. Now, you can't automate what you don't already know practically. Otherwise, you'll never figure out how things work properly in the background. And we have gone through that recently with the client. So automation becomes the key for unlocking that productivity gain. The third step is around compliance, and compliance is a really important part of the problem, because compliance ensures both data and process are run smoothly. Now, at the end of the day, NetSuite's an information system, and it's designed to be pushing out information to report on the business. So if there's any question on the validity or the completeness or the quality of the data in the system, then you've already undermined your key objective. The second thing is that because it is a business-wide administration system, compliance to process is really important because process represents your core internal controls. And so with compliance, we get the confidence in reporting and, quite frankly, the confidence of stakeholders as well. And then lastly, we talk about business partnering, and this is really moving the business from being a user into being the owner of a strategic information asset. And at this point, we've got, we manage customers globally, their deployments, but we manage all user success locally, because it's about unlocking users' productivity in order for management to get what it needs from the system as well. It's a duopoly in that sense. So that's a bit of a background about us and where we fit into the mix. I think now we turn it over to the summary of us is that we lower your risk, lower your costs, and improve your quality. And within the solar landscape, the critically important part is that it's not just about running NetSuite. It's about running NetSuite with the skills and experience that's necessary to really get that done. I think our current stats in this area are 900 users, 35 countries, and about 250 subsidiaries, something like that. Okay. This represents the last element of it, which is we're ready and powered for, we're ready to enable NetSuite for any solar producer, or panel manufacturer, or panel installer, or farm generator, and our managed success methodology provides the approach that we need to make sure that the utilization is optimal. Right, let's talk about different case studies. So inside of the solar space, we know that we've got three different sectors: the manufacturers, the installers, and the power generators. Each of them have got a different set of requirements. So inside of the manufacturers, from a photovoltaic or the componentry, the NetSuite fully supports the manufacturing requirements, and we've got a number of technology manufacturers within our client base that are working on all manner of electronics and using the system. The electronics are typically manufactured in Asia somewhere, and then we've got the logistical issues of moving those components around the world in an efficient and effective way. The installers, on the other hand, are really project organizations, and inside of our customer base, we have a number of installers or project organizations that are really trying to sell the installation, whether that's domestic or commercial, and facilitate the installation as a project, and then run a service business around maintaining and making sure that those panels are well installed and fully operational. So NetSuite's core processes actually fit this segment very well, because it's all geared toward that project delivery lifecycle. And in this area, what we found is that the CRM for lead generation and pipeline conversion, and project profitability to measure the long-term value of customers is critically important, and they are all deployed out of the box with NetSuite. The last one are the power generators, and power generators have got a whole different set of circumstances that apply to them. But from a NetSuite perspective, the multi-entity relationship that's available within NetSuite allows for the power generators to really carve out their business in the way they see fit. I mean, often often the power generators are not running a single farm, they're running multiple farms, and each farm has got maybe a different set of loan covenants on it, a different set of regulations, a different set of shareholders and stakeholders. And so and that may sit within a holding structure of more complex being. So within our customer base, we've got a couple of power generators, each of which have the same operating issues that really relate to these areas of compliance and reporting and ESG, and lots of stakeholders. I think it's good to first turn over to the floor for questions, Ria.
Right. I've received a couple of questions here, Todd, and this one is coming from Arizona, a solar energy business, and his question is, they know that NetSuite has this powerful dashboard that makes it, more attractive compared to other ERP, cloud ERP. So the question is, can they customize solar energy KPI metrics, dashboards with pipelines and alerts per assigned role? And who will do this for us?
Interesting. I mean, look, we spoke before about the importance of data compliance, and data compliance is important for exactly this reason, that dashboard reporting and all level of reporting is just essential to run businesses at scale and efficiently as well. NetSuite's dashboard functionality is first class, in my opinion. It was the first example of a dashboard that I saw back in 1997 or 1998, really when I first saw it. And at that stage, the concept of a dashboard just wasn't there, but NetSuite pulled it together. The dashboard is really flexible. What you find in the sector is, in the technology sector, is degrees of flexibility on dashboards. And I've looked at a lot of them, whether they're ERP dashboards or CRM dashboards. And I have to say that NetSuite continues to surprise me in just how flexible that dashboard is. Now, you can't get everything on the dashboard, but if you want to run custom KPIs, you want to run regular KPIs, you want to use dials and charts on the pipeline. All of these things are very well suited to dashboard delivery. Some things like financial reporting in the sort of balance sheet and P&L sense of the word are not standard. But other than that, you can, as long as you can draw the information from the database, be that by way of a safe search, you're able to present that on the dashboard, whether that's in its raw form or whether that's in an inferred KPI form or a custom statistical form.
I think that's very important, Todd. Thank you for that answer, because I know that, not just only the manufacturers, the power generators, the field sellers are relying on the cloud nowadays, and they're away from the laptop, their computers. There's just everywhere. And this dashboard, the KPIs or the tickets that are open is very, very good when you just have all the dashboards on your phone.
Right.
So I think that's an incredible tool for having it built in the cloud. As you commute and as you fly to different states, especially in the US for solar energy. Oh, I got another question. This time it's from Texas. So let me just read it. All right. So, Todd, since you're saying that the Etter+Ramli solar energy solution somehow unifies our accounting and financials, that's what they understood. What about the CRM and the project management solutions, and with our third-party integration?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. So NetSuite works on process flows, and the process flow of what's called lead to order is deeply integrated with order to cash, order being the sales order. So from this perspective, when you're taking in a lead and you're processing that lead through your sales pipeline, at some point you will get to an order. And then that order becomes what is the basis for the fulfillment and also for the invoicing. Now, depending on your sales process, you may decide to instigate a project early or late in that sales process. But by the time it's an order, you will definitely have a project associated. And that project then is tied directly into all of the downstream financial impacts as well. So just on the revenue side, you've got deep integration of the business generation all the way through to cash in the bank. And that's all managed as a discrete process. The same thing occurs on the procurement side, and the procurement side can equally be tied to the project layer as well. So you've got both sides of them coming together into a deeply integrated financial reporting and also project reporting framework.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a end-to-end seamless, reporting and with analytics. That's incredible, Todd. So I hope that we answer you correctly. And then I got somebody from Washington. But this is my state of Seattle, Washington. So the question is, can your solution, NetSuite for Solar Energy, provide real-time insights into our project status, profitability, and cost?
Yeah, I mean, so real time is a great thing. I mean, real time is effectively real time, provided people update their data. Over the years, we've seen improved enhancements in this area. From a project perspective, real time means data means timesheets, and it means expense reports. The invoicing will happen because it happens, and task completion. So to that end, NetSuite is running live with every change of the data becomes a new piece of reportable outcome. So there's no batching or anything like that. So someone closes a ticket, they close a project task. That project task is then in the system, is acknowledged as closed, and the users move on with the next steps. And the next person who refreshes that task can see the new status, the new changes. So overall, we've got a lot of changes, or not a lot. All of the changes in the system run live, and they run real time. The extent to which they're reported on is also available to you. If the next person who refreshes the report that's drawing on that information will get fresh reports. But there's a number of ways to schedule the delivery of those reports to users, be that on a dashboard or on an email as an attachment, or as embodied information. Lots of ways to push that information out of the system. Ria, I'm going to go and just address something from the last question, which I don't think I addressed. They asked about the integration with third-party applications.
Yes.
And so the third-party applications, NetSuite's got a really good API framework that deals with both the in the system as well as the external integrations. Integrations have got a number of different ways to get done, and it's not about can the systems do it. It's really about the data object connectivity that becomes the big problem, and the way that data is synchronized. But NetSuite's APIs for SuiteScript and SuiteTalker cover most of the system. And when I say most, I mean we're talking in the 90% range, 95, 97%. So it's a pretty flexible framework. Like all integrations, understanding how the system works at a data structure level and at a process level are really essential for understanding how that integration can work effectively. It's not just enough to just connect objects together. There needs to be a true appreciation for how the processes are interlaced with one another. But
that's very insightful. Yep.
But third-party applications are assuming that the third party has the open APIs as well, completely within potential.
Yeah. There's also a follow through from the same Washington company, solar energy
Hmm.
company.
Hmm.
You're saying also about real-time insights. Will their inventory availability, pricing, and purchasing be given to them in real time as well?
Ah, yeah. I mean, so NetSuite was really built from the ground up as a wholesale distribution system, and so the inventory functionality is deeply laced in the core, and the inventory takes on the concept of always in motion. So as inventory moves through the business, it has different stages of completeness and different stages of of usage. So there's a number of ways to manage that inventory around commitment levels and preferred stock levels, availability, and these are all deeply lined into the system, and they relate to the CRM functions of customer priority and order priority as well. Um, and so as an order goes into the system, if it does have inventory, then the inventory will be committed onto the sales order. If there are many competing sales orders, then the inventory will be committed to the customer with the higher priority, or the order type with the higher priority. All of that inventory is then committed, so you know what your difference between your on hand and what your available is, and that all drives out to reporting, whether that's warehouse reporting for count, or whether it's procurement reporting for what do we need to go and buy to get replenishment on. And that can be deeply tied with inventory productivity around reorder points and preferred stock levels and whatnot.
It's just nice to know because it's all about the 100% visibility. Imagine if there are, warehouse managers in Africa, Utah, spread everywhere. Just getting that 100% visibility and control is so important, especially for, challenging industries like solar energy,
Yeah.
business process.
Well, inventory is really the business's money, and if they don't have good control on that inventory and its availability, then really they've got the where is my money problem,
It's
but
yeah,
just
chaotic.
just in a different form.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Todd. Okay, so we can entertain one more question. And this last question is coming from California. And question, Todd, is can it do synchronization? Can you help our company do synchronize our bill of material, the project BOM, and additional items on sales order?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, project organizations, all over the world, they really take, everything is a fresh new project, or it's always an adaptation on a template. NetSuite's got a couple of different ways in order to build the project. It can be built from the item, or it can be built from a template. Either way, that can be applied back to the sales order. So you get a deep recognition between the transaction items and the project tasks that sit within the project, and that's fully catered for inside of the system. From a billing perspective, mostly the billing is around milestone billing, but with a small adaptation that can become discrete task level billing as well. And we've done that for a number of clients, particularly with things that are more discrete in nature, doing an inspection or some other thing. Yeah. But definitely, I mean, they deeply align with one another. The item and the project task can be integrated at a preference level, so that they really have a symbiotic relationship.
Very good, Todd. Thank you so much. I know our audience is now, having this further understanding of NetSuite. That's why it's the #1 cloud ERP in the world. So I think that's the last question for this session. And to you guys who are still, still looking at understanding our managed success solar energy NetSuite solution by Etter+Ramli. We will be having this webinar in different time zones. Tomorrow we'll have the EST US time zone. We'll also have some Asia Pacific next week. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for giving those questions, because it helps everybody in the session, and also ourselves, all about managing success for all of you. Thank you guys. Todd, thank you so much, and
Thanks,
everybody who
Ria.
attended the session. Bye.
Hope it
Have
was
a nice
interesting.
day. Yes.
Thanks, Ria. I hope it was interesting. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.